What was that like? Your um, when did you get into the motion picture business? What were you doing?
It was a consequence of when we moved to Dallas. I took a couple of different jobs at first just to earn money. I was hired at Preston Hollow Presbyterian Church in Dallas. Now it's one of the largest churches. It was even then growing, but it's one of the largest churches in the Dallas area. And I was hired there at $200 a month to do basically full-time work, build a full-time program. But it was a spare time, part-time job.
Sure.
So I had to earn a full-time living someplace else. I ended up, within a few short months, I ended up running a recording studio that was affiliated with a motion picture film laboratory, which processed film for professional producers. In those days, all education, corporate, training, industrial films were all done on 16 millimeter film. And this is a specialized lab for all of those producers. And they had to have a sound operation, sound recording operation, to put the soundtracks in. I ran the sound department, sound recording operation. I was not an engineer, electronics engineer. I knew enough about how to make things work and connect everything and keep it going and call somebody when we needed technical help. And ended up earning a reputation because I was using my ears as a musician, really. I was able to earn a reputation for having the best soundtracks in these kind of films that you could get. It was kind of wonderful. All I was doing is applying good ears. The heck with what the meters are saying. Use your ears. And so we got good tracks. And so we got a lot of business that came in just because of the sound operation. And they started asking also, since I had a voice to use, do you want to narrate this film? And so I started narrating a lot of the films that required a narration. And one thing leads to another, and I involved myself with some of the various producers and so forth, and even did some location recording of films and so forth.
Would you have any idea of what films you would have narrated that might still be available or anything, or is that just...
No.
Okay.
I was the voice of Bell Helicopter. They used to call me the voice of Bell Helicopter. All of their films. One of them I can tell you about. One of them had an audience of one. It was a film that was produced for one person to see and hear.
Really?
The Shah of Iran. Bell Helicopter had a relationship, this is before Revolution days, had a relationship with Iran to sell them helicopters, military helicopters, which they sold many of to them. And when they have a new development and a new technology and a new type of craft, they would present it to the Shah in a film. And so there were a couple of films that I was the voice, and it was always in English because he understood it very good English. He spoke good English, and so there are two films, at least that I know, that I can remember, that the only audience was the Shah of Iran. So no, they're not available for the general public.
Yeah, I just knew their target market.
But I did the same thing. I did the same thing for Collins Radio, which was a big operation at that time. Texas Instruments, TI. I can't even remember them all. Texas Transportation Institute, which is a big highway development and engineering design operation out of College Station, Texas A&M.
It seems to me, especially nowadays, that so many people, I certainly get a lot of my work through people that I know and relationships that I have and that I've built over the years. And I'm curious about how, if you didn't do a lot of that, if you didn't have a lot of lasting relationships, did you have a harder time sort of when you were between jobs, like in Tennessee, when you were needing to start over, Do you think that had any impact on your needing to start over and look for something new to do,
Made
that
it
you
very
didn't
hard.
have
You had nobody to fall back on.
relationships to fall back on and call upon for?
I never developed the
Employment.
kind of relationship that I could say, hey, I'm in a tight spot here. Can you help me? No. I had never developed the kind of relationship that I could do that. I still to this day don't know how to do that.
Did you recognize
Yes.
that was the case?
Eventually I began to recognize that. But after many years of living that way, how do you figure out how you can change when you're also supporting a family and trying to do whatever profession you're trying to do?
Sure.
Yeah, if you're developing relationships, keep them.
We had, how much time do we have?
We have about 8 or 9 minutes.
Oh, okay. I've been told that I need to finish up with a particular question, but I'll fit something else in before that.
Tell me what to do.
Don't tell me what to do. So a lot of your grandkids are marrying off.
Yeah, I've noticed that my granddaughters have all been marrying off pretty fast, and now finally one grandson gets around to it. Yeah.
Boys are just slower on the uptake, you know. Do you see marriage differently now than you did when you were first married? Do you think the institute of marriage itself has shifted? Have your thoughts on marriage changed? Do you think that what I'm about to get into is different than what you were getting into?
I haven't the slightest idea. No, that's not quite true. Almost. For every individual, I think it's different. You have to make your own path. I wasn't the best marriage partner in the world, but I was committed to keeping it going somehow the best I could. There was one time that we were ready to walk out on it and break it off, and I'm glad we didn't do that. And it was my call not to. The institution of marriage I have a hard time speaking to, because yes, it has changed. There are a whole bunch of things now that make it easy for you to get into marriage and also to get out. And I think that's sad. I really think that's sad. I would not change what I did for anything. The most important thing I think to me was to stick with it in spite of what I have done to make it a mess, or what Cherry has done to make it a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the most important thing is to stick with it and make it work. And I guess I really believe that making a commitment means you make a commitment, and you screw up big time often in one way and another. But damn it all to hell, you made a commitment, stick with it. Unless it is so impossible that there's no hope of any kind of reconciliation. It was no easy road for your grandmother and me. It really was not. For a lot of reasons and for a lot of our time. But I will forever be grateful that we did it and stuck with it. And I think that there's not enough, one of the sad things today is that there's not enough awareness of the importance of, if you're going to do it, you can't ever know going in that you're doing it right. There's no way in God's green earth you can know that you're doing it right. You can think you do, and most of us are smart enough to think, okay, I can make this work. Well, surprise, surprise, it's going to be a lot different than you think at some point along the line.
In those last couple of years, especially when it was pretty clear that Grandma would leave us.
Yeah, it was a long slide down, wasn't it?
Did you know that you remarried?
No. No.
At what point did your relationship with Becky, did it become clear that that was the companionship you wanted to have?
Didn't take long.
Yeah.
It really did not. Becky and Cherry and I have known each other for decades.
Yeah.
And because of that, there was no such thing as at least getting acquainted. We went way past that.
Yeah.
We've traveled together.
Of course.
And been in each other's homes. And done a lot of things together. So no, that was...
3 minutes.
It was just... no, it was very easy to... And even the second time isn't easy. You know, you're still learning. We're still learning. Becky and I are still learning.
Sure.
And ain't that fun?
You have 5 darling children.
You're right. Nuts too.
They're all crazy. What in the 2.5 minutes we have left, which is plenty of time, I'm sure. What is your relationship like with your grown children? Are you...
This is the question you saved for the last?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What is my relationship, or what do I want it to be, or what is the... Whatever perspective you want to take on that. I think it's the best time of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very thankful that I've been allowed enough time to live that I can get to a point in having the kind of time with my adult children that I wish I could have had years and years and years and years and years ago. And I'm just grateful I can have it now. Very grateful. It's nice to know that you've learned something, but it's nicer to know that you've learned something that begins to pay off in the way you have a relationship with the people you love the most. And I think a lot of that has happened in the last few years. I hope that maybe it's a little bit visible, but I don't care whether it's visible or not. It's important to me, and I'm having a great time of it. You know, to have all at the time, not for very much longer, but for at one time, have 5 50-somethings for children, and have a relationship that's good with each one of them individually and also as a whole, and also hopefully with a sense that maybe I can still contribute something to their understanding of what they're all about, and maybe learn something still myself. What more can I ask? You know?
It's beautiful.
Not much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
All of 20 seconds left on the tape, so all that good? No.
Well, we can look at the camera and go, yeah.